All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Hi guys, Gillian Leivers here, just checking in with you. You all know me, the man fighting the grave miscarriage of justice.
Don't flinch. We're pulling the curtain back on the injustice on the Greenfeeds case, where verdicts were handed down, but justice was not served. So buckle up. This isn't just a broadcast, it's a reckoning. This is a case of a grievous injustice, and we want to understand how things went so wrong. Listen in every Saturday between 12 and 2 p.m. and hear how the story unfolds. You'll be blown away by its content. Only on Dreamcatcher Radio.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth!
Okay, so we're going to start looking at Robin Neave's transcript from his being on the stand. Please bear with us because this is the transcript as written, or as recorded. And I understand, Phil, Gillian sent you this transcript, right?
Yeah, arrived in the post 2 days ago, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, let's go through this. So we've got JH. I've only read page 1. I've not read any of the other pages, so I'm going through this for the first time. And you've had the opportunity, Phil, to read the whole lot, which is great. So we've got a person called JH, which I did ask you the question, who is JH, and you believe it's the prosecutor, and it does look like it's the prosecutor. And it starts off with this, which I find very, very peculiar, Phil, if I'm honest, because normally when a a witness comes on the stand, they would ask your name and that sort of stuff. What's your job title and that sort of thing, but that's missing from this.
Yeah.
And there's no page numbering on this. There's no pagination or anything like that. But we have to deal with the cards we're dealt with.
Yeah.
It says here, this is first question. Yeah. Okay. I'm just thinking, would there be a better scenario here where we go, you do JH and I do the response, and then we can talk about that? Would that make it a bit more interesting for our listeners?
It could well be. Yeah, I'll do JH if you want.
Yeah, and I'll do the response.
Yeah, sometimes it's not actually written in proper English, these questions, and sometimes the words. I think whoever typed it was slightly dyslexic. So like in the first line, it's the JH says, "Were there cameras in the?" And it's supposed to be yard, but it says AYRD. So were there cameras in the yard looked onto the crusher?
Yes, they were.
And where were those cameras viewed from?
From recollection. How can you recollect? Anyway, but you know,
you're gonna like this answer. Go on.
There's not many cameras there anyway. But anyway, from recollection, on a telegraph pole, on headline.
So these cameras were viewed from a telegraph pole. Is what he's telling me. That's what he says, doesn't it?
Yeah. Let's yeah.
But it just doesn't make any sense, that, does it, really?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
No. So anyway, JH then says, on a pole down to the crusher, where images from cameras goes to.
And to the office to GL, it says Gillian Leivers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So carry on.
Yeah. How do you know the footage on the cameras went to Gillian Leivers?
When it says 2 reasons.
2 reasons, yeah.
Yeah. One, when you went to the offices, big TV, split screen images generated on the screen, or if you weren't doing the job to satisfaction, you get a phone call explaining what you haven't done. That's his response.
Right. Okay. Well, I've made a note about that because basically most offices where you've got yard operations, most operations will have cameras covering the whole of the yard operations. It's not just peculiar to Greenfeeds. A lot of scrap yards do it, and they have various screens on the wall. At any given time, looking at any part of the operation. So it's not just Gillian Leivers that can see this screen. Anybody in the office, I mean, that's probably one of about 8 people, 6 to 8 people, can see these screens. Simple as that. But I must point out here, before we go any further, this statement is purely and simply put together to point the finger at Gillian Leivers. And there are, in actual fact, in this statement, there are 24 references to Gillian Leivers, the name Gillian Leivers. 24 references. So I just thought I'd point that out. Yeah. So they're not doing anything unusual. They've got screens, and they can see. The unusual bit is that it appears that Mr. Neave is being managed by video screen.
Yeah,
and I don't believe that for 1 minute. He had a line manager, Mike Mariniak, and Mike Mariniak was dishing out the orders at the coalface.
Plus, he had other managers as well.
Yeah.
And you are right, and it's not even assumption or presumption. He mentions Gillian Leivers a lot for some reason, and as I said before, this man has a very unhealthy appetite in Gillian Leivers. Okay, what's the next question?
Well, he says this is a crack at this, and this will have all our listeners puzzled. How do you receive a phone call?
Either through Mike, receive phone call from Gillian Leivers, so he doesn't get them. Last time, in his witness statement to the police, he said Gillian Leivers would call him directly. Do you remember?
Oh, he improves on that later on. Keep going.
Or direct to yourself. Your mobile.
What was Gillian Leivers' role at the company?
Basically, judge, jury, executioner. She was in charge, pretty much ran the whole site. I've got a problem with this, and I'm not too sure how this is going to be edited. What I mean by that is where we discussed a gentleman that contacted Ian via social media and Mr. Hunt, and he used the same words, and you referred to that, Phil, and I didn't at the time knew what you were referring to specifically, because
Neavism.
Yeah. So this is not a common phrase that you would think, and from my perspective, right, to say someone you're judge, jury, and executioner, this would open a massive question. What do you mean? And I can see straight after the prosecution's got what they want and just move on to the next question. This is a massive question, and I understand why the prosecution done it, right? Basically, she did everything, clean the fucking, clean the toilets as well.
I could understand that statement if this was post the accident, but being pre the accident, I don't understand that statement at all, apart from the fact that it is post-accident, isn't it? This was done in
it is post. I was a little bit confused.
January, isn't it? So yeah, it just seems to me like trying to cement the fact that they consider Gillian to be in charge of everything.
Yeah, but I've worked in many businesses, right? I've never ever heard the word judge, jury, execution. I know it's multiple words, right? But we've got two people saying the same words.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in this case, though, where you feel when you're reading through statements, you feel this guy wouldn't have said that. You know, these are not words that would normally come out of this guy. You know, it's like if you're talking about health and safety, you know, they're coming out with words like method statement, risk assessments, you know, and you think, well, you wouldn't be using words like that. You know, this is health and safety speak. Somebody's prompting you to say those words or have given you those words before you actually say them, you know, and this is the case here. You know, I don't think Robbie Neave is as sharp as a Tok H lamp. You know, he's not as bright as a Tok H lamp, this guy. Yeah, he's coming out with stuff like this. I don't go for it, really.
It goes on to say she pretty much ran the whole site, yet there was staff there. What were these other staff doing? Were they there just for fun? Would be my question.
Well, according to the rest of the statement, it sounds like him and Mike Maruniak were joined at the hip.
Right.
So I don't know what he's saying now, and he's saying, you know, instructions used to come down through Mike Maruniak or direct on the telephone from Gillian, and even sometimes direct face to face from Stuart Brown. But then, because he mentions Stuart Brown, he then qualifies it by saying, but he's just a mouthpiece for the office.
See, this is the thing about Stuart Brown, who's got a vast amount of experience, and I don't understand how people have not identified, or the court process identified, that he used to run a massive fleet of trucks, far more than Ian, and I don't understand how, you know, they employed him. You'd want to utilize him, wouldn't you? And say,
well,
you know, I would imagine Gillian would go to him or others, senior people on the site, if she was this major person in the business, and ask them questions rather than going to the what do they call himself? Guy.
Transport manager, wasn't
he? Yeah, no, he was a transport manager, but a yard hand. That was it. So why would she not speak to the people in charge and then go directly to the yard hand? Is my view. I mean, what do you say about that? I mean,
yeah, I don't understand it. I mean, for me, when I first understood who Stuart Brown was, for me, he was in charge of the whole site in Ian Leivers' absence. I didn't automatically think because she was the boss's wife that she was in charge, because you tend to look for experience. You know, I'm not looking for a pair of high heels. I'm looking for some guy that understands transport and the workings of transport and how that yard should work in relation to getting his transport well oiled and moving properly. And that wouldn't be Gillian Leivers, I'm afraid to say.
I don't believe it is either. Okay, let me just finish off that sentence. In charge of the whole site. This is you now.
Right. Did you ever have any direct dealings with her, Gillian Leivers, arising out of what she saw on CCTV?
And again.
So did you have any direct dealings with Gillian Leivers with what she was seeing on the CCTV?
Well, it says no. Thereafter, he carries on many times.
Yeah, many times. How often would that be? Once a month?
Could be once or twice a week, not performing tasks, which aren't adequate. Now, go back to what he previously said. Gillian Leivers was always contacting him, and he would have to look over his shoulder because he was not performing his task. So he would get 1 or 2 calls a week from Gillian, right? This man was operating on the that machine, which he said had 2 legs. We now know, we've seen a photo, it actually has 4 legs, and he said one of them was inoperable. But going back to this there, yeah, Gillian would constantly call him. He actually said in his police statement, and now he said on the stand, once or twice a week, not performing tasks, which weren't adequate. Now, just think about that scenario, yeah? How would you describe someone putting something into a machine that just mills it out how could you do something that's not adequate?
Missing the hole.
You're missing the net.
Yeah. I don't know, Brad. I really don't. I mean, it's not the most arduous task, is it? That putting stuff into a hole. I tell you what would be more alarming was when he put his hand in, but I mean that comes a bit later.
Does it? Okay.
Mm.
Okay, you're next.
So, what would she say to you then?
More verbally, yes. I mean, that doesn't even complete a sentence, does it?
No, it doesn't. Communicated by phone?
Phone call telling you what doing wrong. If serious, she pull you into the office.
You nowhere else on cameras looked into. That's not even English.
Can't remember.
I think you want to know if there are any cameras pointing anywhere else on site. And he says, I can't remember. So Greenfeeds produced animal feed. Blimey, we're getting into it now.
Yes, correct. See, this is another problem here, right? I've not seen a transcript in a long time. But this is the most abhorrent transcript, just reading page one, that I've seen. It may be the recording material in the courtroom, but how do you when you look into appeal and say, look, this is what you said here and this is what you said there, this is not a proper transcript. It's not. This is it leaves more questions as well. Anyway, carry on. You're next.
I think this stenographer had an ear trumpet and boxing gloves.
You got feed taken gone.
Yeah. Okay. So feed taken to customers by lorry.
Correct.
Really? Lorry. Right. Were there ever any difficulties with the feed in the lorries?
More than once. Now, let me just finish off the sentence for the sake of it. Always kept fermenting or blocking up. Now, this is interesting. Right? He says more than once, yeah? Right? Which would suggest it wasn't often, it wasn't a daily occurrence, it's just more than once. Right?
Yeah.
These are his words. So if you were to deconstruct that, I would say, for example, Phil, to you, it happened every day, every week, every month. I wouldn't say more than once.
No. Well, you'll see a bit later on what he's alluding to.
Okay, you're next.
So what was the problem with fermenting?
Because of the mixture we put in, they kept bubbling up. Closed cap on tanker. We had to use acid to stop from happening.
Yeah. Before we talk about blockages, as part of your yard hand, obviously duties, did you use an FLT?
FLT.
You're on page 2 now.
Yeah, what's every day?
Forklift truck.
Right, FLT. Sorry, I don't know. Every day without fail.
Did you have a license to drive a forklift truck?
Oh, that's what it means. Okay. Mike and Dave Runiak. Yes.
Yeah, they missed the question. Yeah. How many others operated forklift trucks?
Me, Jack, and there's a question mark there.
Probably Dave, I would think. Me, Jack, and Mike, probably. Mike, yeah. Anyway, I'm guessing. Did you seek to get your forklift truck presumable license?
I did a few times, and I'm guessing that.
Mike Maruniak?
Insisted many times I should get one, but never got round to it happening. Going back to his police statement, he said he went directly to Gillian Leivers. Doesn't mention that he went to Mike Maruniak. Okay,
From the office staff, who supervised what happened in the yard?
We did have Stuart who came down, but he's basically a walking mouthpiece for Gillian Leivers.
Yeah, so he's basically maintaining the narrative, isn't he? He's naming Stuart Brown, but he's actually fingering poor old Gillian indirectly.
Yeah.
So Stu came down, but basically he's just a mouthpiece for Gillian Leivers.
It says Stuart Brown here. I'll answer that one. Yes, correct.
Yeah, he would come down from the office to where you were working.
Yes, correct, and pass messages on. I mean, could you, if you were Stuart Brown, a person that had a very good job before and looking to working a business that was looking to expand and be innovative, he would literally go to Gillian Leivers for instructions. Could you imagine that?
No.
I couldn't
I can't imagine him going to Gillian Leivers for anything.
Yeah, you basically, this is how we're going to develop the business. And I couldn't imagine what beneficial information she could provide.
I don't know what he's doing there if he's having to go to Gillian Leivers for instruction and advice.
Yeah, he may be one of these
yard. He ran 40 odd trucks, didn't he, in his previous role?
He's a yard hand, by the sounds of it. He's saying here. Yes, check on pass messages on.
Sounds like the CCTV didn't cover a great area of the building if someone's coming down to check.
Oh, believe it didn't cover inside the mixing shed. I think there was one camera in there, we understand, that constantly got damaged from our recreation.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. They do get damaged. I mean, from previous experience in waste transfer stations where you've got buildings where the roof of the building is, I don't know, 20, 30 feet up in the air. They'll put cameras and fire detection equipment up on the very top beams. Still used to get damaged because you've got loading shovels going in there with the buckets up in the air, and catching them and clipping them with bits of waste and stuff like that. So they do get damaged, but according to Ian, the camera in the mixing shed was never allowed to operate for very long at any given time. So there must have been up to something in there.
Yeah. Okay.
So talk about fermenting being a problem with the feed, and talk about blockages. What was the problem with blockages?
Scrape off floor, go into mixing shed. That used to cause a problem with the blends. 3, this is
millimeter
diameter pipe. I don't know what that means. Like 3 millimeter pipe. There's no 3 millimeter pipe on the truck.
3 millimeter is nothing.
Yeah, it's not even a fingernail probably. But on this point as well, I mean, I as I say, we may go into this and the answer will come out. But he's talking about stuff up to his chest height at one stage in his police statement, and also to his knees as well. I don't know if it goes on to this, but he's talking about nothing here. You're next.
Well, I don't understand what he's saying here. He's talking about scraping stuff off the floor in the mixing shed. And that by scraping stuff off the floor in the mixing shed, it causes a problem offloading it. I don't understand that because basically they're not taking stuff off the floor and putting it into a tanker. They're taking stuff off the floor and put it into wherever it is that feeds the tanker. So the mixer, basically.
Yeah. I just missed that. So talk about fermenting being a problem with feed, then talk about blockages. What was the problem with blockages? And he's gone on to, how did that question get passed? Scrape off the floor into the mixing shed, the floor of the tanker into the mixing shed. How could you possibly do that?
I really don't know.
That used to cause the problem in the blends. Well, we know pretty much for a fact that the blend was fairly loose. All you had to do.
Oh, I've got it now.
Go on.
The 3 millimeter is the size of the screen from the blender. That the material passes through a 3 millimeter screen to go to the tanker.
But the tanker can accept up to 10 millimeters, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But even so, I can't see whatever you scrape off the floor causing the blockage. Because I mean, if you imagine the delivery of that feed into the tanker, it's going to be phenomenal. You know, the actual pressure is going to be phenomenal. That's why they have to open the hatches and things like that.
Yeah. Okay. You're next.
So it wouldn't go out.
Correct.
What was done about a blockage?
Try and expel. Sounds like something from Harry Potter. It first on outside. On rare occasions, it worked. If not, I had to go in there with a jet wash. Now, right. So basically, the is in here where he's saying that the rare occasion it worked. Yeah, we know what Tim Walker built there with that U bend, almost like a toilet trap and that sort of stuff. And we've heard a statement that we've read out where they've tried to shove a broom handle up it and jet wash up it, which we know, you don't have to be a scientist to work out that would never work anyway. But adding fluid to or adding more ingredients is what Ian says, basically resolves the problem. But he said that this is like it just generally never ever happens in his understanding. But he's saying if not, I'd go in there with a jet wash. And I think, why would you go in there with a jet wash? What could you achieve? Because
Well, my question to you, Brad, is what are we talking about here? What are we actually talking about? Because 1 minute he's scraping stuff off the floor. Where's he putting it? He's not putting it straight into a tanker.
yeah, right.
He's probably putting that back into the mixing tank. So is he talking about getting into the mixing tank with a jet wash? Or is he talking about getting into a tanker with a jet wash?
Yeah, I haven't got an answer for you there, Phil.
No.
This is a good question next. Because he continues on with the Harry Potter theme. Go on.
Who decided to try and expel from outside?
Me, mostly me and Mike Maruniak. The So this contradicts the statement that he gave to the police completely.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Okay, we can only
This
go.
next bit is going to knock your socks off.
Is it? Okay.
So how did you try and expel, Harry, the contents from outside? He said undo the hatch and prod it with a jet wash. Is what he said.
I'm in silence here because I've read it. I'm thinking that's not.
So you open the top hatch, and you're going to say,
Yeah, well, he's basically saying, and prod it with a jet wash. So he doesn't go into the tanker.
so you prod it with a jet wash, yeah. But where from?
On the hatch.
Which one?
The top one, I imagine. Well, there's only one, isn't there?
What does it say at the very end, the very bottom?
Oh,
the rear.
See
hatch.
what you're saying. Oh my days. Open top hatch is your question, which is from the barrister, and he's rear hatch.
Yeah. What do we know about the rear? What do we know about the rear hatch?
It's an outright lie. There was no rear hatch. Jesus.
But in actual fact, Brad, I queried this with Ian last night. He did have a tanker where the whole of the arse end of the tanker opens up.
Yeah, but we're in this instance, we're talking about the deaths on the night, yeah?
Yeah.
Is he talking about Gordon? How do we know that, actually?
Yeah, exactly that.
Maybe he's not talking about Gordon.
But if he's not talking about Gordon, why isn't he talking about Gordon? Because that's the theme of the whole thing, isn't it?
All right. Jeez. Jeez. Open top hatch, rear hatch. All right. Okay. I'm in a bit of a shock at the moment. The carry on, Phil.
Only for the listener's point of view, is the three hatches that Gordon was split into three. It had three chambers. Effectively, there's two baffles inside the tanker, which made it was three chambers. Each chamber had its own inspection hatch, but Ian had the front of the tanker hatch closed and the rear of the tank hatch closed, because everything, according to Ian, was jet washed from the entrance of the middle hatch. So to say that he opened the rear hatch is a lie, because it was solid shut. I made sure with Ian that those hatches could not physically be opened ever. There was a plate welded across the top of them. So how he got into the rear hatch, unless he had a can opener, I really do not know. But if he was able to cast spells, that's another way.
Phil, you're next.
Right, so use the jet wash external to the tanker.
Yes.
Had hot water and cold.
Sometimes hot, mostly cold. Hot when it was decided to work on that occasion. That's interesting as well, because then he's thought about a method. But you've kind of blown me away with that, actually, Phil. You didn't let me know about that one's coming up.
No. I wanted the theatrical effects for our listeners, basically. So, what about the free flow pipe?
That would get blocked.
Really? No, I did question Ian about this. I don't know why they're talking about the free flow pipe at this juncture. I really don't know. Because if we're talking about the free flow pipe being blocked, then at this scenario, the pump must be blocked. There must be a load on the tanker, because the free flow pipe was used purely for loading the tanker, not offloading the tanker. The fact that if there was a load stuck on the tanker and it wasn't moving, you could open the free flow pipe and whatever's in there would then come back out through the free flow pipe. But effectively, it was used for loading, not offloading. Okay. So why are we talking about the free flow pipe? I don't understand that.
On that point, we need to go to a break, Phil. Do you have a song recommendation you'd like? If not, I can play.
Blimey, I haven't thought about that. No, I don't.
Okay. We'll play a song ourselves. I'll choose something. Okay, that was Billy Ocean Red Light. I eventually got there in the end with Phil. Let's carry on. What about the free flow pipe? They would get blocked. You've made a very important observation here, Phil.
Yeah, the free flow pipe was predominantly used for loading the vehicle, never offloading the vehicle. The only time it would be used for offloading the vehicle would be if the pump was blocked. And then you could reverse the pump as well before you even had to go anywhere near the free flow pipe. So the free flow pipe would be your point of last visit, I would think. And then, of course, they're talking about JH. He's saying here, you try and unblock that
through the jet wash, and if it didn't work, you used to climb inside.
Have the hatch, the free flow pipe.
I don't understand that one, but anyway, he's on hatch on top, like viewing area. Okay, so he's looking into the tanker through the hatch on the top of the tanker.
Yeah. First try and free up the free flow pipe.
Which you're saying is nonsensical anyway. That wouldn't be
correct.
And he says yes.
Yeah, so at this point, we're presuming that
just seen the next
pump is
comment.
blocked.
Yeah, I've just seen the next comment.
Yeah,
so he did get asked.
Yeah, use a broom handle for that.
No, just watch, as it was too thick.
Bit like the operator. Use hot or cold water.
He goes back to that same question again.
Yeah,
hot when available, but cold. All right, carry on.
Trying to free a blockage through the free flow pipe. If that didn't work, what do you do then?
He goes on a little bit longer.
I think that's your line, actually. Climb inside.
I see. That's my line. Okay, got you. Okay. Actually, no, I've been a rubbish actor, wouldn't I? Climb inside.
Yeah.
Climb inside.
Yeah, is that climb inside the tank or climb inside the free flow pipe?
Yeah.
Climb inside, right? Okay. Did anyone tell you to go inside the tankers?
And he says, Gillian Leivers. Now, this is really interesting because this is a massive contradiction of what he said before. But he says Gillian Leivers. But you know, this is what he said, and the prosecution wouldn't, because the narrative of we said has been set. The more times Gillian Leivers is mentioned, the more time the jurors will hear her name. It's just like a card trick where you flip a pack of cards and you say choose a card, and then you slowly go to one specific card, right? And that card's stuck in your head.
Yeah.
Without knowing. Anyway.
Well, I said at the start that this whole thing is aimed at Gillian Leivers, and they mentioned her at least 24 times in this statement. So we've got plenty to go yet.
All right. Okay.
So anyway, did anyone else tell you to go inside tankers?
Mostly GL, sometimes Stuart, which was basically from GL. GL came back to the yard to tell us. It says IL, but I'm guessing it's GL.
IL is Ian Leivers.
Oh, Ian Leivers came back to the yard to tell us. Okay, let's just repeat that then. All right, because he's involved. So mostly GL, sometimes
Gillian Leivers.
Yeah, sometimes Stuart would basically from Gillian Leivers. So Stuart, right, would not.
So what you're saying there, it was predominantly Gillian Leivers. Sometimes it was Stuart on behalf of Gillian Leivers. And if it wasn't Gillian Leivers, it was another Leivers, Ian Leivers.
Yeah, but the point being, Stuart was just a conduit in this business, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Just a mouthpiece, as he said earlier on.
You're next.
What? So what were the circumstances in which Gillian Leivers would tell you to get inside a tanker?
He asks an intelligent question here. Define circumstances.
Define. How did she tell you?
Mostly phone calls, saying particularly drivers coming back, tanker blocked up, contain a certain amount of mix if they need to be done or the next load. I mean, obviously, I'm only reading out what's written here, but let's just try and break this down. A tanker is coming back with a block load, and can you go and fix it? Basically,
Well, tankers coming back, so that indicates that there was more than one coming back at any given time. Tankers blocked up, and there was a certain amount of load on there, and they needed to be ready to go out for the next load.
I do not believe this narrative whatsoever, where tankers are coming back with loads all the time. I don't believe it. I really don't.
Well, I think it could be feasible on the basis that the paddles in the tankers in the pumps do get worn down. But we both know, having from previous interviews, that all that happens then is the tanker comes back. The farmer is only charged for what has been delivered at the farm end, so he's happy. He's not getting charged for stuff he's not had. The tanker comes back, and if he's got 6 tons on, it comes down to this shed. They obviously probably try to reverse the pump, forward the pump, and if it's still not coming off, then basically what they would do would be get Tim to just change the pump. And then they would stick another 22 tons on top of the 6 tons that's already in there, ready to go out for the following day. That's theoretically what I think they would do. If they were of a mind, then theoretically they could they could open up the free flow to see if that was blocked. I don't know why they would do that, because it wouldn't really have any effect on anything apart from the fact you're going to tip 6 tons of valuable food onto the floor, which they really wouldn't want to do. So the free flow is irrelevant, really. Apart from the fact that what they're going to do now is, if the pumps change, they're going to connect that free flow pipe and pump another 22 tons onto it. Then it's ready to go the following day.
Which would make more sense. But also, from my perspective, and I've Googled this myself, is customer complaints about Greenfeeds. You would find complaints, but maybe because it's a business to business, there may not be complaints and that sort of stuff. I couldn't find any, because if you want 25 tons, for example, you'd be pretty annoyed if you only get 24 tons or 23 tons, and you'd had countless complaints to the office.
Yeah.
And there's zero evidence of complaints to the office.
That's because there was a system in place where the farmer could see what it had been delivered at the point of delivery, and he would then be checking to make sure he was only paid for that, or he was only charged for that amount of tonnage, which he always was. They never used to charge for stuff that wasn't delivered.
Okay, let's carry on. This is you.
So how did she tell you? Many phone calls coming back. Okay, phone calls to you.
That's it. That's the bit. Yeah, to me or to Mike Marino.
How often did you receive a call directly from Gillian Leivers?
It's an odd response here anyway, but it says in terms of tanker.
Yeah, I think that's the question. In terms of the tanker, and it says in terms of freeing a blockage.
Could be twice a month. I did 3 in 1 week at one point. Actually, that's where he talks. Actually, this marries up with his police statement, Phil. He actually said, at one stage, I did 3 a week. Yeah, his record. So, blockages could be twice a month. Wow. That's a massive contradiction of the narrative. That's a massive contradiction. If we go back,
I don't believe that at all. Well, I don't believe the 3 in 1 week either. Because don't forget, if a tanker comes back and it's got a load stuck on it, and if it has to reverse into the shed to get that load off or something fixed or something like that, that is the pinch point of the business. It's not. This is not the only tanker in the business. There's other stuff going round and round effectively. That you can't do anything else if the tanker's in there, and it's thumping its backside, because they're having product coming in, they're having to offload product, they're having to take product out of its packaging, and all that sort of stuff's got to be done. They can't do that with a tanker sat there.
It's like airplanes, isn't it?
Yeah.
They need to be constantly moving.
It's almost a just-in-time business, isn't it, really? Okay. So yeah, he's going on about his record, which was 3 in 1 week, which I don't believe. So the request she made of you, usually the same?
Yes, request of me. If I did not do it, I would go home without pay and find someone else to do it. Well, he would find someone, or they would.
They would find somebody else to do it.
Right. Okay.
But what he's saying is he would have his pay docked if he didn't do it. Did she tell you to go inside tankers, or simply tell you to clean the blockage?
To go inside the tankers.
So specifically to go inside the tanker. Did Gillian Leivers ask you to take pictures of the inside of tankers? You're going to love this.
Not that I can recollect. No.
You worked at Greenfeeds from around the middle of 2013.
Around the time, yes.
When did you start, and how long after you started were you required to go into tankers?
Can't remember.
Straight away?
Couple of months. Sorry, I want to go back to something here, Phil, right? That, I just want to go back to this because it's important. Requested of me, if I didn't, I would go home without pay, right? There must be evidence there. There's an evidential subject matter there. Did he go home?
It's totally disprovable, that, because
it's an easy
all the payroll was sent to Kennedy's Law for checking.
Okay.
And he never had anything deducted from his pay.
No, he's never had anything, and including this 1,500 quid that he's on about as well.
No,
the fine.
Yeah.
Sorry, where were we?
Okay, so he says he can't remember. I say straight away.
Oh yeah, couple of months
after you started. Yes. Remember who asked you first time?
Phone call to you or to someone else?
Well, he said Gillian.
Oh, no, that's you. Gillian. Sorry, that's your.
Yeah. And I said phone call to you or to someone else.
I can't remember.
Why, as far as you are aware, did Gillian Leivers ask you to perform this task?
Because I'm the smallest one out of me, MM and EM, both Mariniacs, I guess. I have the smallest frame.
Yeah. Why is that important?
Inside tanker have baffles. Hole going through baffles have to through the mix to the rear of the trailer. I'm guessing tanker as well. Okay, carry on.
So basically, what they're saying here is they are introducing a photo, Bradley. Baffle at the bottom, whole baffle. Then there is a little entry point for liquid to flow through. This is him, isn't it? This is what he's saying. He's saying, what can you see from the photo? So start baffle at the bottom.
Okay, baffle at the bottom, whole baffle. Then there is a little entry point for liquid to flow through. Actually, that's the photo that we discussed.
Correct, Mundo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So mix at the bottom of the baffle allowed feed to flow through the tanker.
Yeah, which looks like hardly being mixed.
Yeah. Another hole, the access hole, is that right?
So you have, sorry, just bear with me. So just for the sake of the listeners, you have the baffle, which is a hole in the center, and you have this little hole at the bottom, which I saw for the first time yesterday. Sorry, last year, but I didn't really notice it until yesterday. Mix at the bottom, allow the flow to feed the tanker. His response is yes.
Yeah. Another hole, the access hole, is that right?
Not sure if that's the rear of the tanker. And he shares
So
another.
he's now referring to, I think on page 27, it must be a different photograph that he's looking at now. Does that help?
Yes, that's another way you can climb in. Well, no, the only way you can climb in is through the top.
Correct.
Chances you could not do that all by myself personally. Okay, let me just. He said, yes, that's another way you can climb in. Chances you could do that all myself personally, I wouldn't be able to do that one. That's interesting.
No, I don't know whether he's referring to the holes in the baffle plate or whether he's referring to the hole in the access hatch at the top of the tanker. I think he's referring to the holes in the baffle plate.
Okay, you carry on.
Well, I don't think there's only one hole you can climb through, and that's the one in the middle of the baffle plate. The other holes were just probably, you could get your foot in them, but you couldn't get your body through them. Ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 18 inches, isn't it?
So anyway, we produce a better lit version. We can see coming down from central hole at the bottom of the baffle and a hole further up. Which hole you require to crawl through?
This is bizarre, this response. Hole at the top wasn't there generally. It was the hole at the bottom. What the hell?
I don't know what you're whittling on about there, because the only decent hole in the baffle plate was the one slap bang in the middle, and that was 18 inches in diameter. There was a small hole at the bottom, which was arching over a small channel that used to run from the front to the back of the tanker. And that was just to assist the last dregs to slide out effectively. So if you put a jet wash in through the baffle hole, the main hole in the baffle, say into the front end of the tanker, you could effectively put enough liquid in there to slush down the channel through that small hole at the bottom of the baffle and out the back end of the tanker. But you couldn't crawl through it. It's not big enough, nowhere near big enough.
Yeah, because that was one of the statements, wasn't it, about crawling?
Yeah. Well, there was a different tanker whose baffles were reconfigured, but that had about 5 or 6 baffles, into my knowledge. And you could theoretically, if you were like a racing snake, have got from the front to the back, I think, by going through those holes. But that's a different tanker. That's a different scenario. Not really interested in that.
So I'm guessing where he uses the word generally, he's talking about different tankers. Of the 4.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Okay.
So
you know.
back to point 27. Is that a photo at the end of the tanker or a photo of the baffle in the middle of the tanker?
To me, that looks like one in the middle.
How you would know, I would never know, because the baffle wouldn't be in the middle. It's either a third, it's a front third or a rear third, isn't it? It's not in the middle. That's what he's talking about. Anyway, someone sticking thumbs up, other side of the hole, slightly distorted, should be a round hole.
Oh, this is the photo. Okay, I get you. Right, okay, and he says yes.
Is that person inside the tanker?
Yes.
Prove it. Better view the hole you are required to crawl through.
Yes.
Inside the tanker.
Yes.
Talkative. Feed at the bottom, then black wall. Is that baffle?
Excuse me, sorry. No, assume the rear of the trailer. It's open brackets, close brackets, misnotes from Gillian Leivers, slightly dipping there where might be a hole. Don't really understand that one, but that's his response.
Yeah, good response. Don't know what the hell he's talking about. Photo upside down. The same baffle looked at before, or can you tell another view of the hole through which you were required to crawl?
Yes, some were actually worse than that, but yes. What do they mean by worse? What does that mean?
I think he's talking about the quality of the hole now.
Right, okay. Carry on.
Oh well. In order to clean through top of the tanker through the hatch, how do you, you'll love this, how do you get to the top of the tanker?
Ladder.
Ladder on the outside?
Yes, then you'd shimmy across the top of the tanker to get to the access hull.
Right, okay, can we just hang on there then? So he's going up the ladder on the side of the tanker, and that's going to take him to the middle hatch. Where's he shimmying to?
Well, I'm guessing he's shimmying towards the hatch.
That's a question of getting to the top end of the ladder, then cocking your leg over, surely.
Yeah, I covered that in a previous episode where I said that, if we try and reconstruct it, but bear in mind, there's also, Phil, as well, we've got, but let's just talk about, the incident of the night as well. We've got people falling in the tanker, jumping in the tanker, I don't want to use the word shimmying, but
I think the Ukrainians would just drop him from a drone, wouldn't they?
I mean, this is what he said, and this is what's helped convict Gillian. The open hatch.
This guy is shimmying along the top of the tanker. Usually on tankers, they have like a walkway, a built-in walkway along the top of the tanker, if you're required to go from one end to the other. This walkway doesn't exist on Gordon. Gordon has just got a ladder up the side to the centre hatch, and then the front hatch and the rear hatch are both closed solid. No, there's no point in shimmying to either of them because you're not going to open them. So presumably he's shimmying around the middle hatch. So I can think.
That's what I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. So open hatch. So it must be because he wouldn't be able to open the other two.
Yes.
What you did then?
Jump down, used my hands. Sorry, excuse me, and then lower myself down.
Right, so that basically means he's getting down twice. If you jump down, you jump down. You can't lower yourself down once you've jumped down because you're already down. I know that's a lot of downs, but
irrespective of that, I think if you think about the context of it all, is that there's certain things mentally that operationally that would need to be discussed. You're going down to do what and who with, and all this sort of jazz. When you go back to his police statement, he says he would have someone with him. And what tools did you have? Did you carry it in your left hand, your right hand, whatever? All these, nothing's discussed.
Yeah. So, were you told not to do that?
No.
Did you have someone with you when you did that?
When I first started doing it, not until we got more acid in the mix, requested a spotter, sometimes taken away from me. It's really important, right? Because the acid. So when I first started doing it, no, until we got more acid in the mix. So there's a change in event. So what he's saying here is that from the 100-litre acid in the mix, he said there's been a change. Now, one would ask, what was the change, and what does it mean to me? And I requested a spotter, which says that this man has some sign of intelligence, that he would need someone to make sure he's safe if he comes into troubles. Okay, sometimes taking away from you.
Okay, who did you request?
Whoever's available. See, that's not even a fair answer, right? Was it Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John? Who did you? It's not a fair answer. Whoever is available. I understand why the prosecution left this to just that response, because it makes it sound like it's a casual sort of thing. I get it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But that requires a response.
Well, don't forget, this is just basically having the prosecution tease out information from this guy to make Gillian look bad.
Yeah.
The prosecution, like you say, is not going to go any further than that.
Yeah, he's got enough. Yeah, he's got enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, you know,
who did you ask to get a spotter?
Joint team effort. We told Gillian Leivers we needed a spotter. So there's multiple people there that told Gillian Leivers we needed a spotter. I mean, I've never even heard the expression spotter before. But is that a phrase that you would know? I've heard of like spics and stuff like that. Special people in charge in someone to watch over, but spotter I've not heard of before. But anyway, it could be.
I think I'd probably go along with that. Really.
Yeah. All right. On your next.
Right. Did you tell Gillian Leivers or someone else?
Me, MM, and DM went to the office and said some of the mixes getting too full, so we need a spotter. That's very interesting, isn't it?
Well, it's daft, isn't it?
Because he's now saying that, okay, is he talking about right here, right? Is he talking about some of the mixes are getting too full, so we need a spotter? For what? Because they're loading the tanker too much?
I think he's talking about the depth of the feed in the tanker, but I mean, that it would indicate that there's some sort of a cut-off point.
That's what I'm saying. It appears to me he's talking here that they're filling the tankers up too much. It's complete polar opposite to the tankers coming back with food product on.
Well, I think what he's alluding to is they're coming back with more and more in them, and that sometimes they come back and they were like up to his chest.
No, he says here, Phil, right? Yeah. Went to the office and said some of the mixes getting too full, so we need a spotter. That suggests to me this is before it even leaves the yard.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Would you not agree?
He would only need a spotter if he was getting inside the tank for whatever reason.
Okay, all right, fine. Let's move on then. You're the next one.
And I think at one time they even alluded to Stuart Brown being a spotter for him. Didn't one of the others say that Stuart Brown was sat at the side of the tanker once and somebody was inside, and they shouted, and somebody from inside answered.
Basically,
something
he said
like that.
Anybody that's available. So
yeah.
Okay.
So what answer did you receive then?
Sort it between yourselves.
How did you get out of the tanker once you got in it?
Part of the time, Mike Marinoak put his hands down and hoisted me up. Otherwise, all right, this is what he was all about. All right, okay. If a forklift with a ratchet strap on, I would rip it to get myself. He says down, but I think he means up.
So that would indicate that knocking about somewhere, there was a ratchet strap.
Yeah, it could be that blue one that you're on about.
Could well be. But what I say is, I could understand. I slightly disagree with what Ian was saying about the telehandler. I think a telehandler would be able to reach up above the tanker, and by the nature of the fact it's a telehandler, the boom goes up and out, basically, not straight up and straight down. So you would be able to position the forks over the top of the hatch. And I think if you
even with those guardrails there?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Okay.
And if you made the ratchet strap into a loop, you could actually pass it sort of like over your head, round your back, and bring your arms out so that it comes back under your arms. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then the other end goes over the top of the forks.
But
so then it could pick you up like you would if you were being rescued from the sea.
Yeah, I get that. But this, in all honesty, it's like a comedy sketch, Phil, that you described.
Yeah. But you could theoretically, that's one way of being lifted in and out by using that strap. The other way would be to tie it to the ladder, and you use it as a rope effectively to arm or overarm yourself into the tanker. Right. Given any PPE?
No, but we got issued a dust mask.
So
in his police statement, he did say he used to get issued two. Yeah. Anyway,
well, I would have an issue with that, because you know as well as I know, a guy used to rock up in a van with a wide range of PPE on board, and they were just allowed to sort of like stick their own order in. Never heard of it before in any other place. Normally, you have to ask if you can order this, that, and the other. Usually, they want to see a replacement. If you want a pair of gloves, where's your old ones? You only had them like 2 days ago. Show me your old ones, or show me where your boots are worn or where they're letting in water or something like that. They want to see evidence. They're not just going to keep providing you if you're going to be reckless with your kit. If you're looking after your kit, that's something else. If you're just willy-nilly losing your kit, that's something completely different. So this guy is being issued dust masks. Well, he could have got them anytime. He could have got a box of them off the PPE man that calls. And he could be helping himself to dust masks rather than be issued with them. And I don't see the relevance of being issued a dust mask in a gas connotation. A dust mask is not going to save your ass in a gas situation. A dust mask is going to do what it says on the tin. It's going to save you in a dusty situation, not a gassy situation.
Right. The and in his police statement, he refers to asking for gas masks,
which we both know you can't just do that. You can request it, but they won't just come and go, "Here, mate, here's a gas mask. Oh, and here's a set of oxygen bottles." It's a lot more involved with that. You have to go on a course. You have to have the gas mask fitted to your face, basically. They're called face fit gas masks because they're fitted to your face.
I've seen that. It's very technical.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And he goes on, Phil.
So, ask for any PPE.
We asked for a mask. Now he doesn't say here in this a gas mask, and he used another word in his police statement. I can't remember what it was. Another type of mask, breathing mask. That was it. But he doesn't expand on that. Anyway, you're next.
Okay. You asked.
I asked.
Who did you ask?
Gillian Leivers, of course.
He
doesn't say of course. I just added that bit.
I'd have put the mortgage on that one.
Yeah.
You told us about a revolt when you refused to go in the tankers.
On a few occasions, yes. Now, I've got a comment on this, actually. No one knows about this revolt. It, by all accounts, on the balance of probabilities or beyond a reasonable doubt, whatever you want to call it, didn't happen. But he says a few occasions. In the statements that we read out before from the solicitors, it said on one occasion this happened. Ian denies it in its entirety, never happened ever. And he's saying here on a few occasions, yes. Carry on, Phil.
Well, I only know one occasion that was ever mentioned in any of the other statements. Just the one occasion.
That's all.
Then they weren't sure who was actually there at the time for this revolt.
Yeah.
But anyway,
we need to go to a break. Sorry to jump on you.
Okay. Do you want
Please.
music? Russian Roulette by Rihanna.
Oh well, it's a lovely song. Let's go.
Take a breath, take a deep, calm yourself. He says to me, if you play for keeps. Take the gun and count to 3. I'm sweating now, moving slow. No time to think, my turn to go. And you can see my heart beating. You can see it through my chest. Said I'm terrified, but I'm not leaving. I know that I must pass this test. So just pull the trigger. Say a prayer to yourself. He says close your eyes. Sometimes it helps. And then I get a scary thought that he's here means he's never lost. And you can see my heart beating. No, you can see it through my chest. Said I'm terrified, but I'm not leaving. Know that I must pass this test. So just pull the trigger. As my life flashes before my eyes, I'm wondering, will I ever see another sunrise? So many won't get the chance to say goodbye, but it's too late to think of the value of my life. And you can see my heart beating. No, you can see it through my chest. Said I'm terrified, but I'm not leaving. No, know that I must pass this test. And you can see my heart beating. Oh, you can see through my chest. I'm terrified, but I'm not leaving now. Know that I must pass this test. So just pull the trigger.
Okay. We are back. Carry on.
Okay, so were you given any PPE?
No, but we were issued a dust mask.
Did you ask for any PPE?
We asked, meaning plural, for a mask, but it never arrived. Bear in mind what he did say in his police statement is that when he asked for mask, he was given 2 by Gillian Leivers. Carry on.
So you asked.
I asked
Who did you ask?
Gillian Leivers.
You told us about a revolt when you refused to go in the tankers.
On a few occasions, yes.
How long after you started working did you refuse to go in?
Okay, can't remember. It was on the basis tanker had too much mixing. So okay, so he's saying basically there's too much in there. He wouldn't go in. Okay, carry on.
Yeah. So he didn't ask for a snorkel then.
See, the thing is, right? It feels so guilty to laugh about this stuff, Phil, doesn't it?
Yeah. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah. No. I feel guilty for laughing, but I'm just thinking. Do you imagine, right? These people having these conversations, adults having these conversations. Oh, should we go in? Shall we not? Is the sun right?
Yeah, that's too deep. That. Yeah. Not going in there is too deep. Come over my mouth. So, did refusal to go in become more frequent the longer you worked at Greenfeeds?
We pretty much got told if we weren't willing to do it, someone else would.
Who told you that?
Oh, our best friend, Gillian Leivers.
You personally?
Yes.
Anyone else from management speak to you about it?
Ian Leivers on occasion whenever he was in the yard.
How many times did Ian Leivers speak to you about it?
Once or twice he said it needs to be done. Now, okay, I just want to go backwards, right? I never foresaw this episode is going to be the entire show, right? I just want to go back upwards slightly, where he talks about Gillian Leivers again. So she is by force telling them that you're either going to get doctor pay, fined, or sent home if you do not go into tankers. Now, one would assume that's to every and all people, right? That this is being told to. And then you've got Ian, who is completely steadfast, and with a passion, which said no one is allowed to go into tankers. We're aware of 2 occasions now since he said that, where people have given evidence, and where people have said, "I'm biased. I'm not. I just want to get to the truth." And both of those people have come forward to say they've been into the tanker. But he's saying here, Ian Leivers would speak to you about it. Ian, without a doubt, I mean, he's obviously not here today, would deny that anybody should be allowed to go into a tanker. I'd also go back to the business model, and if there was a more effective way of doing something, I'm pretty confident, based on my knowledge of Ian, is that he would do it more efficiently. So, for example, we've had a witness come forward talking about how they clean the tankers and where they go around the country to clean the tankers, Pacific depots, and all this sort of stuff. That if why would you close the back door hatch, Phil? Because that would be an easier method to clean a tanker, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. How many times? Okay, this is you. Once or twice, he said, "Yeah, you're next." Yeah.
Yeah, and I my note for that, I put a note down here. I just got lie, for it was Ian Leivers, and ridiculous, and then lie. Just craziness. Okay.
It doesn't make any sense, though, right, Phil? Right? Why lock up the back door if that's the best way to clean your tankers if you always have blockages?
But Gordon was at a tank that had a back door that, the back end of the tanker that completely opened out. It was a sealed tanker. There was only one way into Gordon, and that was through the middle hatch.
Okay, let's do it the other way then. Is why not create a new door? Bear in mind you've got Tim Walker there that can do all sorts of magical stuff to put a door on that tanker. It wouldn't be too difficult for him, would it? If that was the method of cleaning out tankers.
Well, if it was required, I suppose then Tim could definitely do it. I wouldn't think that was beyond Tim's capabilities. And even Ian suggested that what they could have done was taken the front and rear hatches off, like they did do, and reuse them in the back end of the tanker as a small door, basically, so that you could open them and get inside with a brush or a rod or something like that if there's anything holding back in the back end of the tanker. But let's face it, there was no need for it. There was absolutely no need for it. The loads did not go crusty or solid, and there was nothing in there that effectively...
Or like concrete as well, Phil?
Yeah, concrete as well. Yeah, mate, yeah.
This is what I'm saying about the reenactment, Phil, right? It's impossible to do. Because it will be the circus. Oh, yeah. You over there, you over there, you over there. You did this, you did that, and all this sort of jazz. It just wouldn't. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And how this has not been discovered. You put on a whiteboard, or I don't know. I watch too much true crime, but and you basically say. He said that goes to that person. What did he say? That goes to that person. That goes to that person. That goes to that person. It is really is a circle. It's something that is just unreal. That's it.
I thought about this, Brad, and I think the only way you could do it is you're absolutely right. Is to have a whiteboard, then to take each individual statement, on that whiteboard, put all the individual players and where they say they were at a given time, say for Richard Draycott. Then for Nigel Curtis, have a piece of cling film with his movements on and stick it over the top of Richard Draycott, and then Jack Maruniak and Mike Maruniak, and stick them layers on top and just see how many movements and lies there are. You'd be all over the place. They would be all over the place. Jack's saying, he did this or he did that, making himself out to be a hero, opening a free flow valve, and it's just a tissue of eyes.
Something else, talking about the justice system, Phil. I know we're going for this transcript here. Wouldn't it be great to have the ability to have all these parties in a room and say what went on? Let's sit around the table, even if they lied or told the truth. I wonder what would happen in those sort of scenarios. The witnesses, that is.
It'd probably be a big fight, I think.
Well, that's what I think as well, which will probably be a good thing. We're in a better position than we are now. But that would be awesome sort of situation. Well, I mean, I've got something else that I've got coming up next week on a separate episode where a couple of people are arguing between themselves about who's guilty and who's not. No, you're the one that's guilty. No, you're guilty. You did this and you did that. It's coming up next week on a totally different show. But but wouldn't that be the perfect opportunity to say, okay, we've got you all here. Let's figure out what the hell went on that night. I know for some reason it doesn't happen. I don't get it. But that would be a great solution, Phil, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I think in this case it would never happen because there's more than one person that doesn't want you to know what went on that night. There's too many people covering their own backsides for that night. They've all got their own individual reasons for lying, basically. I mean, presumably Jack, Mike, and Dave want to protect Nikki. because she doesn't believe she was in charge of health and safety, and so they're not going to do anything that's going to point to her being in charge of health and safety and getting it wrong. Stuart Brown, he changed his story because I think the Maruniats probably pointed out that his arse is in the frame just as much as anybody's, basically. There's just so many different.
But my understanding is the Maruniats are not that intelligent.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't really know them that well. I don't like ultimately pointing the fingers, but where things are glaring, I'll point the finger and I'll point at Mike Maruniak and go, "How the hell did you know that Nathan was in the end of that tanker from standing outside? It's impossible."
It is impossible.
So I'll point him out for that, and that's where a reconstruction would be helpful. Because I could stand at the side of that tanker and stick my arm out and be nowhere near that middle baffle. There's no way he would know.
It doesn't even need a reconstruction. We just know how long an arm is.
Yeah. But if people can see it, then then they tend to believe it, don't they? A bit better. So
all right, let's carry on. Where were we?
Yeah. So what was he talking about?
What was he talking about? Where did he... Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, getting a tanker ready for next load, quick turnarounds.
What do you say to Ian Leivers?
Two reasons. Either fumes in the tanker too much or liquid too high. Actually, that's really important. Liquid, Phil. Liquid.
Yeah.
Too high. Couldn't get to that.
Did you explain to Ian Leivers that you were going inside tankers?
Yes, he was fully aware.
I've got a note about that. It just says lie. When you told him about these 2 points just mentioned, what was his response?
A bit blase, really.
Blase. Yeah.
That's blase, is it? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Blase. Really, just get down there and get it sorted, but no direction.
When you went into a tanker, what would you be wearing?
Simply overalls and Wellington boots. Now, this is an important point. He mentioned that whenever he went to the office, or more importantly, in this instance, spoke to Gillian Leivers, she would give him just 2 masks, yet requesting that he needs a gas mask or a breathing mask and all that sort of jazz. But he just basically says simple overalls and Wellington boots in this statement on the stand. Again, I understand why the prosecution didn't challenge. It's not fair. Can you elaborate? Where did the overalls come from? Where did the Wellington boots come from? What sort of height were they? What sort of size were they? All that sort of stuff. Because based on what we know now, is that if you're going into the tankers well in boots, it's likely, especially if you're going up to the baffle height, the food products will go into your boots and fill them. Anyway, carry on.
I'm guessing that Aaron Shelley would be able to prove or disprove what the company bought, spent on PPE and issued on PPE, because it was his remit, effectively. And I think even besides what Aaron Shelley used to dish out, they could help themselves from this random van that used to arrive, a bit like the sandwich van. That would arrive. They could just order what they wanted off that, or take what they wanted off that. So there will be provable invoices for PPE that probably Kennedy's never bothered bringing out.
Yeah, Jake, made a good point where he said basically he's never seen so much PPE of stuff.
Yes.
In the yard. He made that point once. Okay, go on, carry on.
So, were you issued with any particular equipment when you went into a tanker?
Okay, yeah,
I
I found you. Yeah, a dust mask.
Why were you issued with a dust mask?
Because we complained, we being plural, about the fumes, and they thought they might mitigate. See, mitigate, that's an interesting word, Phil, isn't
A
it?
cracking word, that, isn't it, for a
Um,
numpty?
yeah, exactly. Some problems.
Yeah. Sorry. Who complained about the fumes?
I did myself.
To whom did you complain?
Obviously, Gillian Leivers.
And what was her response to you?
That dust bags should suffice. If not wearing two, should be fine. So,
What do you take that to mean?
wearing two dust masks.
As you went up the ladder to access the tanker through the top hatch, could you smell anything?
Yes, could smell the aroma of acid. It's a great question next.
Was that a pleasant smell?
And no, it was a burning sensation.
Right, I'm going to hold there and say I don't believe that for 1 minute. The actual, I mean, for a kick-off, formaldehyde is a very, 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 very low-rated acid. There's no way if it was vented to air, just in its raw form, that it would be a burning sensation. I've worked with formaldehyde in the past because foundries use it. You know, when they're casting and putting foundry sand together, you know, for castings, they use formaldehyde and stuff like that. I don't, you know, so I've moved drums of it, you know, open drums of it, and not, you know, there's no way that what he's talking about makes any sense whatsoever. No burning sensation, but because they've said the word acid, he's sort of like, he's focusing on the acid aspect of it.
So there's no chance of a burning sensation.
No.
So let's just paint in a scenario then, because I don't know a lot about acid apart from it's steaming up and being very egregious. So if you open the tanker, then let's just say I'm comparing it with a sunbed here. Actually, I'm just thinking a good sort of analogy. When you go on a sunbed, you get very hot very quickly. This is what he's suggesting here, and you're saying that can't happen.
No.
Right. Okay. Right.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
I think I sent the group some information on formaldehyde. It's CH2O. It's generally considered not to be a strong acid, and in its pure gaseous form, it does not act as an acid. While formaldehyde solutions can sometimes exhibit weak acidic properties, typically a pH of around 3 to 3.5, due to slight decomposition or interaction with water, it offers a pH of around 8.6, which is virtually neutral.
The mere fact that it says 2O suggests there's a high level of water content.
Yeah.
So,
So they're just trying to emphasize the danger of formaldehyde and acid, you know, in the mix. If you think about it, we're talking about 28,000 litres. And what did Ian say he was putting in? 100 litres, was it?
100 litres per load, yeah.
So 100 litres.
In Robin Neave's witness statement, he said up to 300 litres.
300 litres, yeah. V 28,000.
Yeah.
So it's slightly diluted, isn't it, really?
Yeah. I think the prosecution is doing its job, and in terms of asking potent questions. Pardon. And he's not allowing him to talk longer than necessary, in case he makes a mistake. This is my opinion here. Because because it's all about negative. Gillian Leivers all the time, all the way through. But yeah, I'm conscious of our time here. I never expected this to be this long. Anyway, let's carry on quickly, Phil.
So the next line was there a way of allowing the fumes to lessen?
Yes, over the top hatch and leave it for a few hours to ventilate. That does make zero sense to me.
No, me.
Because if it was fermenting, it would ferment.
Correct. And what do they use to stop it from fermenting? Formaldehyde. It's the formaldehyde that stops it from fermenting.
It's not even questioned. It's not even questioned. Which I make no apology for the prosecution. They're doing their job, right? Which is not fair. This is why people get wrongly prosecuted for this very reason, because the narrative is set, and the defense has to unpack all this jazz, and it's very difficult to unpack it all. The presumption of innocence is lost based on the evidence given by the prosecution. Anyway, carry on.
So, in essence, was that something that was done, leaving the hatch open? That is.
Yeah, not really. On the rare occasion, the tanker wasn't needed until the next day. Ian says that his tankers are running 24/7. What was that about?
Ian said what? Sorry.
So basically, it says here, not really. On the rare occasion, the tanker wasn't needed until the next day. My understanding from interviews today that Ian's tankers were pretty much running 24/7.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Be needed. You can guarantee it would be needed.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The thing is,
if it wasn't needed for taking products out, it would be needed for bringing products in.
Well, that's exactly what I was just about to say. Because if he didn't collect the product, the operations of his blue chip clients wouldn't function.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
that's why when he's taking products out, he's more or less also bringing product back. Yeah.
Okay, carry on.
And that's where the expertise of a good transport manager comes in. Somebody of the caliber of Stuart Brown.
I'd question that caliber, to be honest. But,
well, he's supposed to be running 40 tankers. He should be able to run the few that Ian had got. But, that's what, theoretically is supposed to happen. Why wasn't it done?
Because tankers had a load ready.
Who decided whether the tanker ventilated or not? You told anyone in the office about this problem?
Yes.
Who have you told?
Oh, here we go again. Gillian Leivers.
Told anyone else?
Stuart Brown on odd. Okay. Now, see, really, like listeners, please grasp what is being said here. Yeah, all right. He's saying Stuart Brown on odd occasions. He's a manager. I mean, the hairs on my back are standing up, Phil.
Yeah. So, anyway, what did you tell them about fumes and ventilation?
Aroma from acid too strong and wasn't possible to get inside. Oh, please.
I would suggest that aroma was the feed, not the acid. What was Gillian Leivers' response to you? So he's even joined in now. What was Gillian Leivers' response to you?
Either two, we don't need you here today, which I would go home and she would find someone else suitable for a job. If that's the case, though, right? If that's the case, why would she invite him back to come back to work, or why would Ian invite him back to work? Because
who'd do the job if it wasn't him?
Exactly. All right, go on, carry on.
And anyway, it's provable, isn't it? It'd be provable in his timesheets. It'd be provable in his pay packet. It's all provable if you take the time and trouble to go and delve and look. But nobody was prepared to go and look. A lot of this is just skimming over the surface. Pertinent question, yes or no answer.
Yeah.
Then another pertinent question, can't remember. pertinent question, yes or no answer. And it's just like that all the time.
You're right, Phil. It's very clever, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then the prosecution doing their job. Let's move to the next question.
What was Stuart Brown's response to you?
He would let Gillian Leivers know a response. I don't understand that one.
Oh, he was telling Gillian Leivers.
We would tell him the problem, and he would go to the office and replay the message. Replay the message.
How does he know that? Anyway, after Stuart Brown relayed the message, were you informed what to do?
He came down and said it needed to be done.
Ever given training, how to clean a tanker or a
No.
Tanaka?
No. Yeah, Tanaka.
No. Did you tell anyone in the office that the Tanakas still had an amount of feed in them when you were required to go in?
Yes. They were always aware of the amount of feed in a tanker at any particular time. Did they have a weighbridge or something like that? Oh.
Yeah, of course they did.
Right, okay.
They would always be aware of it. In fact, on the actual day of the horror, Draycott came into the office and said, I've got 6 tons on here that won't come off. How did he know that? How did he know there was 6 tons on there?
Oh, yeah, good point, yeah.
Because he bloody weighed it off, that's why. Right, as far as you are aware, tankers coming on the company weighbridge before coming down to mixing shed.
I'm not sure. I do not know.
That's utter crap. That's utter crap. I bet the only way into that site is onto the weighbridge. You pull into the site, onto the weighbridge. First thing you do. For him to say he doesn't know, well, how did he get out of there then? Did he just jump over the fence and cross the fields? Didn't actually go out down the main drag. Ridiculous.
Actually, let's just go back to that. I've just reread it. As far as you're aware, tankers or company weighbridge before going to the mixing shed. I'm not sure. I don't know. He's been there for how many years?
Well, been there a couple of years, hasn't he?
Well, no, it's more than 4 at least. And he says here, I do not know. I'm not sure.
Well, you can't really blame the lad because even Sam Ramage, who was in charge of health and safety at the time, she didn't even know they ran tankers as well. So, I mean, what chance has he got,
Yeah, you're being, what is it?
Cynical.
I'm trying to think of the word for it.
Cynical is a word.
Yeah, cynical. Okay, let's go with that one.
Yeah.
I've got a better word, but it's lost.
Told anyone else? Stuart Brown on the odd occasion.
Yeah. Okay, are we on the right line here?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't know. Is what I've got.
Yeah. So, what did you tell them about fumes and ventilation? The aroma flash was too strong and wasn't possible to get inside. What was Gillian Leivers' response to you? Either 2. We don't want you here, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, we did the old relay the message thing, didn't we? We've done that.
Yeah, were there any rules of what you could or could not do accessing the tankers? Satirical was a word I was thinking, Phil. It's just come to me.
All right.
Yeah. So
yeah, were there any rules what you could do or couldn't do accessing a Tanaka?
Okay, no, there was no direction.
Any plan in case something went wrong?
No, nothing. Now that would lead me to suggest that he didn't even think about what happened would go wrong anyway. The irrespective of if there was any rules, no, nothing.
So the obvious question then is, well, why are you doing it then? But the same reason you're putting your hand in a shredder.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing is, Phil, let's just take it to the lowest denominator. Yeah, you go and put a pan on the hob, right? You kind of know it's going to be hot.
Yeah.
You plan in your head that I not need to touch that hot pan, or I've got these various ingredients, oil, all this sort of stuff. But he's saying literally carte blanche, nothing.
Yep.
Nothing. I didn't plan for anything that went wrong. Me personally, right? I know in my head, if I'm cooking with oil and that sort of stuff, if things go wrong, not to try and put it out with water.
Correct.
Right?
You just get a tea towel, soak it, and chuck it over the top, cut the
Exactly.
oxygen off, don't you?
So
Yeah.
he's saying he's planned for nothing, no eventualities. I can't imagine that being true. I mean, if you work on a building site, for example, it's automatic to wear steel toe caps. It makes perfect sense. So, because you don't want to harm yourself. As I said before in previous episodes, you want to go home by the end of the day. You don't want to be in the hospital. A&E is a nightmare. You'd be lucky to get home within 12 hours.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, why isn't he wearing shorts and flip-flops?
Okay, this is your next one. Yes, I missed that one briefly. Okay, carry on.
It's daft as that, isn't it? He actually takes the time and trouble to ask for an overall and a set of wellies and even dust masks. But he hasn't given no consideration whatsoever as to what's going to happen to him if he can't get out of the tanker.
We're not going to get into this. You're next.
Who is in charge of health and safety at the company?
This is really interesting, Phil. You're going to need to help me out with this one. I'm going to read it out and give me your comment. As far as I'm aware, wasn't anybody in charge. Pretty much, we all looked after ourselves. What do you say about that? Because you've got a bit of knowledge on this one.
Well, I would say that is not true. Definitely not true. The company employed Peninsula. They were a third-party, external health and safety provider, a professional outfit. They had a representative who used to call regularly onto site to review the method statements and risk assessments that were in place at the time. So you can bet your life that representative would have seen this guy at some point or other. And for them to say that there was no health and safety is ridiculous. And it was continuous, because when Peninsula weren't employed, Sam Ramage from Allied Plant took over. So she would be visiting site as well, although she conveniently forgot they were running tankers. And that was in conjunction with Nikki being a relative of the Maruniacs. So for him to say there was no health and safety, basically, I think that narrative was given to him to protect Nikki from any SH1T that might be sticking with regards to the accident. So I don't believe him in the slightest. And after Sam Ramage, and this is after him, basically, Peninsula picked it back up again. And over all that period, so Peninsula, then Sam Ramage in conjunction with Nikki, and then Peninsula again, not one of them felt the need to write a method statement and a risk assessment for climbing inside tankers and cleaning them.
Okay.
And that's got to speak volumes, because you're working off their insurances. If Peninsula have cocked up and there should have been one, then you can claim on their insurance. So they're going to be absolutely doubly sure.
That's an important point. Underwriting is very extensive. So they don't issue these coverage for fun. Because they could be at big losses, as they've experienced in this case. The is that they it has to go through many channels. You can't just in the old days, Phil. I remember when I run a construction company, you just get public liability and employees liability. It was really, really easy. But like farming industry, for example, obviously I know nothing about the industry, but the one thing I do know, to get public employees liability nowadays is not easy.
No.
And Ian consistently maintains public and employees liability insurance, and also had this advisory consultant who even inspected the site. I mean, when going back to my days, the we never had people come around and inspect sites to just check that you're following your health and safety policies and that sort of stuff. But it happened on Greenfeeds. Is that normal? Just out of interest?
I don't know. I mean, there's such a lot to unpack here, basically, because the sorry about that noise.
That's all right. We've only got okay. So the answer is no. We've only got 1 minute left here on this episode. As far as I'm aware, wasn't anybody pretty much charged herself. Let me just quickly go through this bill, just see if I can try and close this down. Next question is, any first aiders? Not as far as I'm aware, no. I mean,
yeah, I'm not sure about that one. I'd have to check with Ian about that, whether there were any first aiders or not. Yeah. Whether anybody had done any first aid training, I really do not know. I couldn't answer that question, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I think that's really where this interview ends, really. And then we get into other barristers interrogating Neave on what he's actually said here.
Okay, well, let's leave it there, as you say. Then can you just give a summary for the sake of the listeners to where your thoughts and feelings are at? You got about a minute, Phil.
Okay, my thoughts and feelings about that is basically this guy's been brought back. He's not actually employed by Greenfeeds at the time. He left Greenfeeds before this incident, before the guys died. He had left Greenfeeds because he was being bullied. And in probably the next episode that we do about Robin Neave, the bullying bit comes out, why he actually left. There's still a lot of inconsistencies. He wrote to Gillian before he left, thanking her for the opportunity of working for her. They're not consistent with a guy that's thrown her under the bus 24 times in this statement. So it's obvious that this guy has been given him his own opinion by somebody else. He's been given his opinion by somebody else, and he's fighting tooth and nail to stick to the narrative. But the unfortunate thing is, when questioned about the narrative, he's allowed to skim, which we've just said previously. He's allowed to skim. Yes, no, can't remember. You know, if that's what it says, that's what it meant. You know, that sort of stuff. For me, it just smacks of, I don't know, not justice anyway. Not for Gillian. It's just poor, very, very poor.
Okay, so am I right in understanding then, when I read into this, the people that are bullying are going to be identified? Is that right?
No, they're not identified at all. No. Right. Gillian, his mother wrote to Gillian. His mother wrote to Gillian and said, you know, can you please stop the people in the yard from bullying Robin? It's driving him crazy. And she assumed it was Mike and Dave. So she pulled them up to the office and said, why are you bullying him? And they didn't really answer. They just smirked at her.
Right. Okay. We need to finish now.